Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I will just move on. We'll start immediately, inshallah. So it's going to be an interactive interview, but I'll first ask the question. So Professor Aisha Muneeza, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, so please, I would like to start with the first question. Why did you choose this path as a career choice? And I would like to know, if you had another option, would you still choose this one or a different path? And also, what would you say has greatly motivated you to stay on this path? Because we know a lot of women in the society would choose a career and then they will face some challenges and then they will leave for another one. So I want you to share with us the reason why you choose Islamic finance and why you're still on it and what has greatly motivated you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aishath, for that question. I think the reason why I chose Islamic finance as a career is because I found that there is need to have more talent pool in the industry to pioneer as well as develop Islamic finance in the world. While I was doing my PhD, I found out that in my country, in Maldives, we don't have so much Islamic finance products and services available for public, even though we are a 100% Muslim country. So that motivated me to do something about it instead of just pursuing my career as a lawyer or in the legal field. I found it more practical to contribute to Islamic finance industry of our country and pioneer it in such a way that common man will benefit from it. And despite the challenges, the reason why I'm still staying in this field is because I still believe that there is more or potential in Islamic finance industry that we have to do. Meaning that we see a lot of different types of products being developed every day, but there are more innovative solutions that we can find. And every day is a new day, and every day we face new challenges. And we still need to strive to the cause of creating a riba-free economy in the world. So therefore, I believe that it's important for us to do whatever we are doing right now in the Islamic finance industry so that we will see a riba-free economy in the world one day, inshallah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. That's so nice. That's so great to know. Also, I would like to know, you've already spoken about some of the challenges, but you haven't outlined them for us. So we'd like to know, what are those challenges that you have faced in the course of your career?
When it comes to challenges, obviously there are different types of challenges that we face in different type of work we do. The common challenge I think I face when it comes to Islamic finance industry is not having the awareness required about Islamic finance products and riba-free economy among not only the public but also professionals as well. So because of that, it becomes a bit difficult for us to come up with innovative solutions required for the industry. And other than that, I believe that challenges or inhibitions in the legal, regulatory, and governance framework is also a challenge that we face, because whenever we talk about implementing Sharia-based products in any country, we have to do it within the parameters of the legal and regulatory framework of that particular country. And if the legal and regulatory framework of that particular country is not shaped in a way to support Islamic finance, then it becomes again a challenge. Even though we know the black and white products that could be offered, it becomes a challenge to offer those products in the way it should be actually offered in the countries. So I believe that these are the most prominent two challenges which I face every day. The lack of awareness, not only among the general public, but within the professionals, and the legal, regulatory, and governance challenges that we face in the industry.
Okay, mashallah. It's glad to know that these are some of the things that even women in other parts of in the Islamic finance industry in other parts of the world are also facing. And it's good to know that, yes, we can overcome any challenge that would face. Thank you so much, Professor. Now I'd like to move on to the next question. How much will you say you have invested financially, intellectually, and otherwise to get to where you are today? You're an academic, you're also an industry expert. Professor Aisha Muneeza is a Sharia advisor to a lot of Islamic finance companies, banks, and other institutions in Malaysia and also in Maldives. And she has also been a deputy minister, finance minister in Maldives. So I would like to know, how were you able to invest so much in yourself to get to where you are today? And what will you say is the greatest investment a woman can make for herself in this era, particularly when we consider the fact that women are often marginalized in most cultures? You talk about some Arab cultures, even in Nigeria, some Hausa cultures, Yoruba cultures. We see that women are being asked to stay in the house, to stay in the room and be a housewife. So how were you able to invest so much in yourself to become so much that you have become and that you will still become in future? We would like you to share with us, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I think competency is very important, whether you are a man or a woman. So in order to be competent, education is very important. So I believe that the first investment we should make is to educate ourselves so that at least we become so competent that irrespective of our gender, we could do whatever we want. Sky would be the limit in that case. So without competency, we won't be able to achieve anything that we want to achieve in life. So I think the first thing I did is to get the right education. After doing the LLB honors, I did LLM banking. That is where I was introduced to Islamic finance for the very first time in my life. And going forward, I also did my PhD, specialized in Islamic banking. My thesis was on the legislative conflicts facing Islamic banking in Malaysia. And not only that, I believe that with the knowledge, experience is also very important. So I focused, while getting the knowledge from a university, I also focused on getting the relevant experience by participating in research projects or consultancy, so that at least I know whatever I'm studying in the university is something that could be applicable in wherever I go. So I believe that it's important that whatever we know should be also shared with others. Therefore, I also invested my time in telling others what I believe in through publications or short articles, industry articles, or by contributing in any way I could, either by attending conferences, conducting workshops, or one-to-one sessions or mentoring or whatever the opportunity was available. So through these things, I believe that not only I become competent, but I also gain experience, as well as in a platform where I am able to share whatever I know, whether it's little or big, doesn't matter. Whatever I know is being shared with others with similar minds or who want to achieve similar objectives, so that at least through what I know, I'm able to serve other communities as well.
MashaAllah, thank you so much, Prof. It's good to know that you emphasize on the word competency, because it's not just enough for a woman to say that you want to advocate the issue of equality, that you're equal with to a man, but you also need to show that you have something to bring to the table. It's only when they know that you are good enough and you have the competence that they will be able to say that, okay, you can also come on board. But we cannot just sit and say that we need equality with men and then we do nothing. So there are a lot of things that needs to be done. I like that, Professor. Thank you for sharing with us. Now I'd like to go on to the next question, Ma. In your view as an expert in Islamic finance, what trends and dynamics will shape the Islamic finance industry this year, 2023, and likely beyond? What do you think are the things that we're likely going to see in the Islamic finance industry, both in Maldives, in Malaysia, and all the other parts of the world? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question again. I believe that beyond 2023, What we are going to see is something which we have seen happening in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Number one, that is the acceleration of adopting of technology with all types of products and services offered by Islamic financial institutions, whether it is payment of zakat or disbursement of zakat. We've seen innovative things happening. For example, look at the innovations used like rice ATMs, whereby through ATM machine, you dispense rice to asnafs so that at least they get some staple food to live with. And then the next most important thing I would want to highlight would be the synergy that we are creating between Islamic commercial finance and Islamic social finance. Because previously we thought the future of Islamic finance industry is with Islamic commercial finance, and Islamic social finance is just a private matter because it is quasi ibadat or worship matters, and therefore so much regard has not been given to it. But now we see that more efforts have been created in the mainstream of economy to converge Islamic social finance with Islamic commercial financial institutions, or even if Islamic social financial institutions are running alone, the governance has been given more emphasis so that at least it can flourish and take Islamic social finance to the next level. So I believe that in future, beyond 2023, we'll be seeing these two types of developments. But what I would like to want to see more is change of mindset. I believe that we have more Islamic finance professionals today than yesterday. However, the truth that we can't deny is that we are still doing some replication of conventional products to the extent that in some jurisdictions, for common people, it's very difficult to find out the differences between the two. Therefore, I would want to see a day where we have people or professionals with Islamic mindset to prosper Islamic finance in the world.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, in Nigeria, you talked about financial engineering, where we cannot actually differentiate between what Islamic finance does and what the conventional bank does. In Nigeria, we find that lots of people are moving into the industry, not because they understand what Islamic finance is, but because they just feel like it's an opportunity, and yes, we can also tap into it. So I like that. We hope to see more of proper Islamic finance products being rolled out in the year and beyond. Thank you so much. Now, I'd like to ask another question, Ma, which is, do you agree that there is a gap between the theory and practice of Islamic finance? And how do you think this can be solved? That's if there's a gap between theory and practice. You know, when we talk about the what we teach the students in class, and then what they end up finding out when they get to the industry, that there's a huge gap between the two. Do you agree? And what do you think can be done to solve this? Thank you.
The answer is yes and no, because it depends from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. The reason why we normally say that there's a gap in this regard is because, as you know, Sharia is the lex loci which is supposed to be applied to Islamic finance transactions. But when we try to apply Islamic finance into the legal system, if the legal system is not conducive for the growth of Islamic finance, then there's no way we could apply the black and white Sharia contracts that we used to study in Sharia classes immediately as it is in a practical scenario. So because of that, sometimes if we don't teach our students the importance of law harmonization initiatives, they tend to become a bit tired of trying to do the implementation of the products, because at the end of the day, the expectation is to just apply the plain vanilla kind of products in the financial system, which is not possible in all the countries of the world. Therefore, it's important for us to teach the students when they are in the university level that practical challenges that they will face when they go out there will be different, and it differs from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, and how we can create harmonization between Sharia and law is something we have to teach everyone at the practical level, because at the end of the day, whenever there is a discrepancy between Sharia and the local law of the land will prevail. So this is something that we need to teach all of our students at a practical level, so that they won't be tired or they won't be having any other type of mindset when they face these types of challenges. So for any country, law harmonization is very, very important because of course, Sharia harmonization is something we've been struggling since the inception of Islamic finance industry. But I would say more than Sharia harmonization, today we need to look into law harmonization so that we would be able to find a level playing field between the conventional and Islamic finance industry in all the countries in the world.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I hope our participants are following us, and I want to say that you can also chat, you can send your questions through our chat platform so that we can look at it and then we can ask our professor as we move on. Thank you so much. Now, I'd like to move on to the next question, which is, how did Islamic finance contribute to the development of Maldives? So like I said before, Professor Aisha Muneeza was a former Deputy Finance Minister of Maldives, and she was instrumental to a number of developments in the Islamic finance industry. So we want to know how you were able to contribute to the development of Maldives through Islamic finance, and what do you think is the economic position of Maldives presently in relation to other Southeast Asian countries and also globally?
As you know, Maldives is a 100% Muslim country, so having the opportunity to use Islamic finance is very important for the population. However, without the right political support, it was impossible to introduce Islamic finance to the country. It was only in 2003 the first form of Islamic finance, which is takaful, was introduced to the country through a setup of branch of Amana Takaful, which is a Sri Lankan-based company at that time in the country. But during that time, people didn't know Takaful is a form of Islamic finance simply because it wasn't regulated by the central bank as a Takaful company. Then in 2011, the first full-fledged Islamic bank with the help of ICD-ITB was introduced to the country. And the same year, we were able to create an Islamic capital market in the country as well. And then slowly, we were able to come up with the infrastructure required to have a proper Islamic capital market in the country. And while struggling to create a sukuk market, we were able to successfully create the first Islamic finance institution offering non-banking financial products, which is HDFC Amna, who issued the first corporate sukuk in 2013. And in 2013, we were able to do a lot of things in terms of development of Islamic finance. The Tabung Haji, or our Hajj pilgrimage fund, was introduced in that particular year. Likewise, for the first time in South Asia, we were able to introduce Islamic treasury instrument for our central bank to those institutions offering Islamic financial services in the same year. And a private company also introduced Islamic hire purchase for the first time in the country in 2013. So right now, if we look at the number of institutions operating in the country offering Islamic finance, we have about 13 institutions offering Islamic finance in the country, which is a good number, I would say, for a population of about 400,000. And I believe that in future, we will see Islamic finance products dominating the country, because the financial markets of the country, because we see that there are a lot of players who are interested in issuing sukuk right now instead of conventional bond. We also see common people who are more conscious about what type of financing facilities they are taking, because at the end of the day today, looking back, starting from 2003 up until now, we've created a lot of awareness among the general population. And we also have a lot of graduates who are specialized in Islamic finance as well, which means that the more graduates we have, the more professionals we have for Islamic finance industry, we are able to convey the message to the public that Islamic finance should be the way forward when it comes to financing matters. Especially being Muslims, we have to be more conscious about these things.
Mashallah. That's interesting to know. And I can see that Maldives, even though it's a small country compared to some other countries, they are doing so much in the Islamic finance industry. And I think this is a take home for other countries to also see how they can emulate some of these things. So, and this also will take me to the next question, which is, how can underdeveloped countries use the Maldives model to escape the economic crisis? So we know that there are lots of crisis going. Even before COVID-19, there's always been financial crisis here and there. And with the COVID-19, it has also come to make it worse, if I can use that word. So how do you think other underdeveloped countries can use the Maldives model to escape the economic crisis and even in the future? Thank you.
I don't know how I could answer to that question in a direct manner, but indirectly, I would say diversification of the industry through which you generate revenue is very important. And if we are talking about leveraging on Islamic finance and creating poverty alleviation or creating socio-economic justice in the society, it's very important to have the legal infrastructure required to have the different types of Islamic finance products being offered in the country. But having said that, if we use Maldives as an example, when we look at the situation in 2011, we didn't have the infrastructure that is required to have a full-fledged Islamic economy in the country. So what we did is, even though there is a lacuna or a gap, we just first experience things. After experiencing things, then what we started doing is coming up with the required legal framework. So I would say that if you want to do something, you shouldn't stop yourself from doing it just because you don't have the required legal and regulatory system. You can do it, and later on, the legal and regulatory system will follow. So there is no right or wrong in that. As long as something works in your country, you should strive to do that. And as for other countries, we never know their situation and at what circumstances they started things. So therefore, we can't 100% rely on how other countries have done it, but we have to find our own way to do things in our own jurisdiction. The most important thing is we need to have passion to bring the change, and we need to have the competency and the right professionals to do that. If you have all these ingredients, definitely you will see success, inshallah.
Yeah, so I like the fact that you mentioned that it's what suits each country that they should try and work on. Even if you're going to be using a model from another country, you need to domesticate it and ensure that, yes, it fits into your own system. That's very interesting to know. And thank you so much for sharing so much with us. Now let's move on to the next, some general questions. And I think this will be interesting for our ladies to know. So I would like to understand, I would like to ask my prof, your own perspective. What do you think about the gender equality debate? So we'll have a lot of people, we have the feminist group, we have so many gender equality debates going on. I would also like to know your own view about this. What do you think about it? Thank you.
Of course, when it comes to gender equality, it's an important proposition that we have to make in our societies, not because one gender is much more superior than the other, because we can't have a progressive society with the contribution of both male and female. What we see right now in the world is that in some of the societies, we don't see equal opportunities given to women. That's the reason why we have to advocate for that in the first place. So I believe that in those societies, we can't let the natural course take over and the society just one day realize and come and say, oh, we want to make things equal. That won't happen ever. So what we need to do is we need to have a little bit of force to experiment that and for them to practically feel how it is when they make things equal between the gender. So for those countries, it's important, or societies, it's important to have, for example, introduction of quota system, so that at least through the quota system, we will have each year a number of women being given certain opportunities to be involved in the society. And once people understand how important they are and what type of contribution they can make to the society in which they live, slowly, the natural course will take way, and it would be easier for that society to tolerate such things. So I believe that gender equality is something we have to advocate for, because we believe that there are societies in the world where women are not given equal opportunities. And because of that, we need to ensure that women are heard in those societies through advocating it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's interesting to know that we need to also work towards that. It's not just about waiting. Nobody's going to give us our cake. So we need to fight for it and work towards it. Thank you so much for that.
Most welcome.
I also like to know, what is your view that about a Muslim woman's place to be in the housewife, or in the other room, like the people who just say that, oh no, your place is to be a woman, to take care of the children and just be there. How can she positively impact in the society? Yes.
Irrespective of what type of work is done by women, whether it's being a housewife or working at the office or whatever the job she takes, doesn't matter. The important thing is to be financially independent. Whether you're a housewife or working elsewhere, you should be able to take care of yourself and family. And it's important that we become self-sufficient through the concept of wealth management. But what we see right now is that when we say a housewife, we believe that that is a person who should be in the house without doing anything towards taking care of herself or her family. So I think that notion needs to be changed. Every woman, irrespective of whatever the type of role they play in the society, they should be financially independent, financially empowered. Economic empowerment of women is very, very important.
Thank you, and that's interesting and succinct and just direct to the point. So we have cases of women being said to just be in the room, and then or in the other room, like the men will say, or as being a housewife. But I also like to stress the fact that being a housewife is a job on its own. So it depends on how we look at it. A woman being in the house, taking care of children, taking care of the home, is doing so much because she's raising the generations to come. So thank you so much for that. Now, finally, I would like to know, I would like you to tell us the steps that you think that you will advise young women to take when they want to choose a career path in the Islamic finance industry. So a lot of women out there are wanting to come into the industry, but they are not sure of what they are supposed to do. So I'd like you to take them through step by step on what they need to do, and how your general advice on how they can choose a career path in the Islamic finance industry.
I think the first thing anybody who's interested in choosing a career path in Islamic finance should do is understand what Islamic finance is all about through reading. Today, we are living in Industry 4.0, where internet is everywhere and we can get any type of knowledge we want, either by reading or by watching something or even consulting people through internet. So I think the first step should be understanding what Islamic finance is all about. And the next step obviously would be to get the right education required, because fundamental knowledge about Islamic finance is very important when you want to choose Islamic finance as a career, irrespective of what component you want to contribute in Islamic finance. The knowledge will be the next thing which is important. So when acquiring knowledge, it's not necessary to get a formal degree from a university, but there could be like practical certificates or professional certificates that you can acquire nowadays, depending on what type of experience you have and what age you are in. So again, here, when I say education, it doesn't mean getting a university degree, but in whichever career path you are choosing to get your qualifications, you can choose it in any way you want, but knowledge is very, very important. Without having the basic knowledge, you won't be able to pursue your career in Islamic finance, because this is a technical area. Next, I think it's very important to get the required experience. So if you are a fresh graduate, it's important for you to find the opportunity, the right opportunity to serve in a financial institution as not like an employment, but while you are studying, you can also do some attachment programs and try to acquire knowledge. Or if you are a student, you can still write what you know and try to get opinion of others on what you write and improve your knowledge as well. And you can also disseminate what you know by writing or contributing small articles, so that at least people out there would know from what you know, and you can also improve what you know while doing that. And the last thing would be obviously practically implementing what you know. Practically implementing what you know here doesn't mean getting a job immediately, but whatever the little you know, you can always experiment it. For example, let's say, charity is something that could be automized, and you see like people getting donations every day physically in your Jumu'ah prayer. So being a student of Islamic finance who has knowledge, you can always try to automate it or help. Small things also matters. You don't need to start a full-fledged operation just to practically experience things. So if you can automate the whole process and show to your masjid how things can be done, that is good enough, because practically you are contributing to whatever you can. Because we understand that it is not like overnight you can become 100% or a full Islamic finance professional. You have to go slow, step by step. And in this process, if you can get a mentor to help you, to guide you, that would be very good, because that way you won't be deviated from your objective. You can always try to understand what would be the challenges ahead, and if there are any challenges, how to eliminate them or how to overcome them would be something that you can get from your mentor as well. So I think, I mean, again, there is no specific answer to this. It could be like first getting the mentor and then going to get the knowledge, or it could be the other way around as well. So I believe that different people will choose different paths, but all these ingredients are very important if you want to pursue your career in Islamic finance.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I also believe that you'll be available to mentor women who are interested in joining the Islamic finance industry. I hope you would find time from your site schedule, because I understand what you need to do to what you need to put off for all the rules that you're playing presently. In fact, I give you a thumbs up for that. You're doing so much great work that a lot of ladies are looking up to you. And personally, I would like you to mentor me. And I'm sure a lot of people too are having the same feeling. Thank you so much, Prof.
It will be my pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. We have a question on the chat box, and I would like to quickly read it out. So somebody is saying, what major blockages did you meet during your career? And what advices will you give to teenager or women who want to follow your beautiful way? Even though you've answered in some way, but I'll still like you to answer this. Okay.
I think to try each and every component or different types of work which I did for Islamic finance industry has its own challenges, unique challenges, right? For example, let's say if you want to introduce a product, the challenges you face would be different from when you want to institutionalize an Islamic finance entity. So and if you are giving Sharia advice, again, the challenges you face would be different. If you are a lawyer doing Islamic finance transactions, then again, the challenges you face would be different. So there are no like common challenges for everything you do that you face, but depending on what you are doing, definitely there are specific challenges you face. But otherwise, as I told you before, it is mostly the lack of awareness and lack of professionals to help you when you do things or support you is what is lacking. If that is there, then definitely it would be much more easier to do whatever you want to do in life. So irrespective of gender, again, I want to emphasize that if you have competency, then it'll be easy for you to do anything you want. Sky would be limit. And if I have to give some advice to the teenagers or women who want to follow the path I followed, I would say be passionate about whatever you do. The first thing is you have to be a person who would want to do anything to achieve your objective. If you have that passion, then it will drive you to whatever the path you want to choose. Without passion, it would be very difficult for you to achieve anything in life, whether it is a career path in Islamic finance or otherwise as well. The next thing is, of course, there will be challenges that will be faced in whatever you do, in whatever field you choose. So being persistent in what you do is also very important. First time you might fail, second time you might fail, third time you might fail, fourth time you might fail, fifth time you might fail. Still, you have to have that persistence to go on until you succeed. It's not like overnight you can achieve success. You have to put a lot of hard work and you have to be persistent, and you should never ever give up If you give up and just let things go, then you are not going to achieve anything in life, because everything is very, very hard work, and you have to try until you succeed, irrespective of the number of times you fail. So I think that is what is lacking today in most of the youngsters, because we have this mindset that everything should be easy, but that never happens. Just because I'm sitting today and talking about all these things doesn't mean that I didn't face any difficulties, challenges, or failures. There are a lot of failures which I had to go through. And with every failure, there are a lot of emotional trauma or things that we have to go through as well. But we have to overcome all those challenges and do whatever we have to do so that we will succeed one day, and then we can talk about our success to others and inspire others. I hope that answers the question.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. In fact, that resonates with me. I can relate perfectly with what you're saying. One day I'll share my story with you, and I know you understand, because it's not so easy. People believe that, okay, let me just finish my LLB or my degree, and then I move to master's, I move to PhD, and then I become a prof. It's not as easy as it's been said. Even Prof can say that what she has achieved doesn't come easy. Nothing will come easy. We just need to keep pushing, and with the hard work and believe in God, everything will come into place. So I like that. And the fact that most youngsters these days just want everything fast. They want it, they just want to do and then get so much money and then boom. But it's not like that anywhere in the world. So you just need to work and keep doing it. And I like the fact that you also stress on the issue of whether you fail 5 times, you should still keep pushing. You do not fail, you only fail when you stop trying. But when you keep trying, you're still making progress. Even if you're not saying it, but you're making progress. I like that so much. And I hope our participants are happy with that clarification. Another question is coming in. They're saying, how do you determine your qualities? So I think this will
Sorry,
be.
how do you determine?
How do you determine your qualities? I don't know. I think this will mean maybe how do you determine if you have the qualities for it? I'm not sure. To be in Islamic finance.
So maybe
Sister
it's about.
Okay.
Can it be clarified a little bit? I'm not sure what the question is asking me to answer. I think the answer for that could be it is the confidence. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have the required confidence to pursue anything in life, you can't do it. Okay, so in order to, even though you have education, even though you have the right mentors, even though you have the right experience, you can't do anything innovative in the world if you don't have the confidence required. So confidence comes by trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and know that He's always with you, then anything could be possible. For instance, when I initially started, for example, let's say doing structuring the first sukuk for the Maldivian market, I had no prior experience in any other market structuring a sukuk. And sukuk is a complicated product. But how did I finally come up with the right structure without SPV and by following the legal regulatory framework which is in the Maldives? That is by having faith in myself and having faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that whatever I do would be correct, because my intention is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to create a riba-free economy in the country, not to get any other benefit, fame or money or whatever it is. So with that intention, with that noble intention, if you try to do things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide you and you will be able to do things. But as we all know, it's very important that we prepare ourselves so that at least whenever we want to do something, we're well equipped with the resources and we would be able to achieve what we want to achieve in life. Thank you.
Yeah, I can also relate with that, because sometimes we want to do so much, but we are scared of, am I able to do this? Will I be able to do this? But sometimes you just have to overcome this fear and face it. And of course, with the right intention, if you have a good intention towards something, Allah will make it easy for you, and then you'll be able to succeed in that. So thank you so much, Prof. I don't know, do we still have anybody that would like to ask Prof any question? If you have a question, if you're not comfortable with the chat, you can as well indicate so that you can unmute yourself and ask directly. Do we have anybody?
Yeah, there's one question. How do you manage your
Okay, yes.
time to be
How do
efficient?
you, yeah. So how do you manage your time to be efficient? That's a good one.
I
Time
think
management.
the key to that would be to do whatever you have to do on time. Don't prolong things for tomorrow. Do things as if there's no tomorrow. So when you start practicing that, it'll become very easy for you. If you think there's tomorrow and the next day and the next day, then obviously you will be prolonging things, postponing things, and at the end of the day, you won't be achieving anything. So the moment you have something to do it on time. Do it now. Don't delay it. I think if you practice that, you'll be able to manage your time effectively and efficiently as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I also like to ask a question personally. As a woman, have you ever faced a situation where people, maybe your clients or people in the government or somewhere, would feel that because you're a lady, you cannot achieve something, you cannot deliver on what they're asking you to do? Because I had an experience quite not long ago. While I apart from my LLB where I learned Miras and Wasiya, I also went for a course on estate distribution. So I was there to distribute an estate for that Muslim, and the relatives were there. And then when they saw me as a woman, they were like, are you sure this person will be able to distribute the estate? So there's this general perception that a woman her skills are not strong enough like a man. I believe if it were to be a man, even if he wasn't so sure what he was doing, they will give him that respect or that belief that yes, he can do it. But because I was a woman, I felt they were looking down on me. Though eventually, I eventually did that, and they were so much surprised. But I want to know, have you ever been in that situation, and how were you able to change the mindset of your clients and people in that situation? Thank
I
you.
think it's a mindset. We women feel like we are inferior, and therefore, whenever we go somewhere, we believe that people are judging us based on our gender. But when I go to a place, I never have that mindset, irrespective of whether I'm male or female, whether I'm dealing with male or female, it doesn't matter, because for me, a person is a person. So because of that mindset, even if people stare and if I know that there are some like misconceptions about my competency because of that, it doesn't really bother me. So at the end of the day, what happens is I achieve what I want to achieve. And most of the time, when I look back now, most of the people whom I would be dealing would be men, because they are the decision makers in most of the institutions, most of the countries. Therefore, we have to deal with them. So I think the key to that is you shouldn't feel like you are subordinate to them because of your gender. You should have the confidence that you are competent. If you're competent, nobody should look down on you. And you have to prove that, just like whether you are a male or a female, you have to prove yourself, and then only people would have confidence in you. So that is what exactly you have to do. For instance, when I came to Inceif University to work, including me, there are only 2 female associate professors then, because then when I joined initially, I was associate professor. And people thought that at Inceif, there is no room for women. There were no women full professors, and there were no women at the top. But after 7 years of hard work, today I'm a professor, and I'm the only female. I was told that I'm the only female professor at Inceif so far in its short history. And I'm also appointed as an associate dean, which nobody thought would be given to a female. But the thing is, if you are competent and if you prove yourself to wherever you are working, you could do, there is no barrier for you to achieve what you want to achieve. You just need to have the right mindset. You can't control other people, but what you can control is what you feel about yourself and what you want to do. If you can do everything with passion and persistently without losing faith in yourself, then definitely things would be good. I hope that
I
makes
like that.
sense.
Yeah. I like that so much. And you also stress on the on competence part. Yeah, that's very important. We need to build on ourselves. We need to work hard and ensure that we are able to deliver, even if they doubt us, but eventually we deliver and they will be wowed at the end of the day. So that's good to know. And I really thank you. So I don't know, Sister Khadija, in the absence of any other questions, what do we do? Are we ended the
I don't
session?
think that
Or?
we have more question. Perhaps if Professor can talk about her to close the interview, the debate, or you, Sister Aisha, do you want to add something else about you? Do you hear me?
Sorry, your voice is very low.
Oh, okay. And now, do you hear me?
Yes, now I hear
Okay,
well.
yeah. Sorry for that.
Okay.
I don't think that we have
Yeah, we
more
couldn't.
questions now, but I was asking to Dr. Aisha Zubair if she can, if she wants to share something about her career or with us. Just a
Okay.
small story, and after Professor Aisha Muneeza can close, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So my own story. I said I was going to share with Prof, but since you asked now, I will just share. So I also finished my LLB in 2009 in Nigeria. Then usually we go to law school here, so I was called to Nigeria by in 2010, and then 2013. Early 2010, I came to Malaysia for my master's in IUM as well. So unfortunately, while Professor Aisha was leaving, I was coming in for my master's. So I also started I finished my master's in 2014, and then I started my PhD. But unfortunately, things happened and I had to come to Nigeria, and I was unable to go back to finish up with my PhD there. But I started again in Nigeria, in a university in Nigeria in 2018. So I'm hopefully going to have my Viva next week, inshallah. So put me in your prayers. So in between those things, there are lots of stories, and it's just about you thinking that, yes, I can do this and I want to achieve this. It's always been my dream, my goal, even though I had to pause for a while, and then a lot of things didn't feel so all right at the end of the day. But alhamdulillah, we keep pushing, and even if we fail a number of times, like Prof has said, we keep picking ourselves up and we'll do what we can do. So it has not been a smooth ride for me. I was the kind of person that everybody would believe that her career will be so smooth. She finished from this and then she moves to this, and then, but Allah had other plans. So it's what it is, and it is just the fact that we need to keep pushing and we need to keep doing what we do. Of course, with prayers, we'll get there one day, inshallah. So I've been really motivated by Professor Aisha Muneeza. Even before I met her, I read so much of her works, and I'll be like, wow, this is my namesake. And I like how she writes. She's so clear and direct in most of her articles. And sorry, we didn't even mention about the book. Professor Aisha Muneeza, you need to tell us about your book, the one co-edited by with you and Kabir Hassan, if I'm not mistaken, and one other sister, yes. And she's been doing so much. In fact, when I get down, sometimes I just need to read some of her articles and read more about her and say that, wow, if this is a woman, I can do it as well. She's an academic, she's in the industry, she's a deputy minister, that she's into politics, she's with the policymakers, and she's been doing so much, and she's a woman. So if a man is telling you that you cannot achieve so much like him, then you tell them that look up to Professor Aisha Muneeza and some other women doing so great for themselves. So Prof, please would like you to quickly tell us about your book and the journey towards it and what we can get to learn from that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. I really appreciate what you have said about me and my writing. Thank you very much for that. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make your waiwa easy and make it successful as well. Now, coming back to the book question, I think you're talking about Islamic finance in Africa, book that we edited, right? So that's a book we started editing, I think, in the midst of the pandemic. And the reason why we wanted to have that book in the first place is because we found that there are not much writings on the recent developments that has taken place in Africa in relation to Islamic finance. So we wanted to come up with a book where we can talk about the developments that has taken place in Islamic commercial finance, in Islamic social finance, and by having a series of case studies to show how Africa has used Islamic finance to transform their economies and to showcase the future prospects of Islamic finance in African continent. So that's the motivation behind it. And by publishing the book, alhamdulillah, we were able to achieve those objectives because we had wonderful writers who are well-versed in what is happening in Africa. And by compiling that book, through that book, a lot of people are able to understand the potential of Islamic finance in African continent and what can be done further to develop Islamic finance industry in the continent as well. Because at the end of the day, we realize that some of the countries, they are very well advanced in Islamic finance. For example, if we talk about Nigeria, definitely Nigeria is at the forefront. And by taking examples from Nigeria, definitely the other countries in the region can grow a lot of sectors of Islamic finance, for example, sukuk, right? A lot of things could be done. So for infrastructure, especially if there is a gap in it, it could be resolved through having different innovative types of Islamic finance. So that is what the book is all about, and that is how we came about it and how we have achieved the objective of it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jazakumullah khairan, and mashallah, barakallahu fiqh on all your endeavors. Yeah, so I think this will bring us to the end of the session. Brother, sorry, I don't know. Do you want to say anything, or Sister Khadija, before we end the...
No, I will let Brother Sohi to add something, and we grant him a lot of because he trusts women and he offers us this opportunity to discuss, to know how to inspire other women. And may Allah always grant you and you grow up, inshallah.
I tried to log in. My name is Aisha. I'm from Nigeria, from the northeastern part of Nigeria. I'm a PhD student in Islamic finance. Mariam invited me and I registered yesterday. And when I couldn't log in, she sent me the login details. That's why it's reading Mariam. I'm actually Aisha. So yeah, Jazakumullah khair for this wonderful program. I really appreciate being invited. I didn't even know something like this was going on, and I really appreciate it if I could be invited every time. It would really help me with my study. I'm just doing the coursework. I will be rounding up the coursework this semester because it's an American university, so it's American style. And I have to write a comprehensive exam. Then I can start my real research. And I'm at a crossroad right now because I don't have a tentative topic. I'm still kind of very, very confused about the PhD. And I'm glad that I've spoken to all of you here. And I was wondering if I could get your emails and I could communicate with you if I have any challenges. Yeah, so I don't really have a question. I just wanted to appreciate this forum and also how I could get in touch with you, because I asked a question in the chat box and I was told that we'll resume after Ramadan. So yeah, I just want to appreciate this forum, and I will have a lot of questions asking about my PhD and how if Dr. Aisha can guide me on the compelling issues or the groundbreaking topics that I could have an idea of or I could choose from in doing my research when I eventually get there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We have Mr. Kesrawi. Do you have something, Mr. Kesrawi? Nabil Kesrawi, do you have something to add?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
No, thank you very much for the invitation. Just I put my my details, my contact for the networking. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I've just connect now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, on the end, Professor Aisha Muneeza, do you have something to add to close? Some advice, some tips, some remarks, please. And Jazakallah khairan for your time, being generous for your time. I know that you don't have enough, but Jazakallah khairan. May Allah always make you inspire the world. As the ladies I was naming on the introduction, I really appreciate, and I am very honored to have you for the first events of WiInspire.
Thank you very much, Sister Khadija. Really appreciate it. First of all, I'd like to thank Brother Sori for organizing this event, and Sister Dr. Aishath, as well as Sister Khadija, for having me here in the inauguration edition. It's a privilege to be here. As for the closing remarks, I would say I just want to emphasize on few things. Number one, whether you are a male or a female, it's very important that you become competent. So in order to become competent, it's important to have education. If you can get education, you shouldn't hesitate to do so, because experience and education are important when you want to shape your career in whatever the path you choose. So without proper education, sometimes it's difficult to understand how to get experience also. Even if you get so much experience, you might not be able to utilize it wisely without having education. So my closing remarks would be, in whatever field you choose, whether it is Islamic finance or not, if you are a female or a woman, don't hesitate to do whatever you want to do in life, thinking that you are inferior, because everything is a mindset. If you have in your mind that you can do everything, then you can do. So don't let yourself become inferior because of your mindset. Keep your mindset in such a way that irrespective of where you are, whatever you do, you will do everything confidently in the right manner, so that everybody will respect you at the end of the day. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Sister Aisha Zubair, do you have something to add? Your mic is closed, I think.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I want to thank Brother Sori for having this initiative, and also Professor Aisha Muneeza for giving us, for providing us part of out of our tight schedule to be here. We really appreciate all of our insights and advice to the women, and I'm sure a lot of women have taken note of some of the things she has mentioned. And it's important that, just like she has stressed, that work on ourselves. We cannot just ask people to give us what we do not have, and we need to give what we have. So we need to work on ourselves, do more, go for trainings, read more books online, go for certification exams if you can, and just keep doing it. One day it will all make sense, inshallah. And Jazakumullah khairan for also having me to host her. It's a very great pleasure, and I also look up to her, and I want to be like her one day, inshallah. So Jazakumullah khairan to all the organizers and for this very great initiative. And we need to see it coming every month, inshallah. We hope we can keep that up so that there's not going to be breaking it. Thank you so much, Jazakumullah khairan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Amin. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.